The studio of Jimmy Kimmel Live buzzed with anticipation as Clint Eastwood stepped onto the stage to thunderous applause. The audience, gathered in expectation of another charismatic interview, had no idea they were about to witness a historic moment that would shake Hollywood. Jimmy Kimmel, with his signature smile and a glint in his eyes, seemed in control, but beneath his confidence lurked a cold calculation. This night was meant to be a routine promotion for a critically acclaimed drama, but instead, it turned into an epic battle of principles, where one man stood up for his dignity and another lost everything he had built over years. Before we dive into the story, drop a comment below letting us know where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest stories. As the show went live, the hall erupted in applause. Kimmel bounded onto the stage, his suit impeccable, his smile wide. "Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel Live. We've got a great show tonight," he began, his voice smooth as he bantered with the audience. "Before we get to our main guest, let's talk about the news. So, Justin Timberlake, yep, that Justin Timberlake, got arrested for driving under the influence. I mean, come on, Justin. Cry me a river doesn't mean cry me a DUI, right?" The audience laughed, and a slight mockery flickered in Kimmel's eyes. The moment arrived. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Clint Eastwood." The hall roared as Eastwood walked out, his stride confident yet measured, his weathered face bearing the mark of the quiet strength that defined his career. He was dressed in a refined navy suit, his silver hair neatly combed, and his piercing gaze swept the room before settling on Kimmel. The men shook hands, and Eastwood took his seat as the applause continued and the music faded. "Thanks for coming, Clint," Kimmel said, leaning back in his chair. "You're looking sharp for a guy who's been making movies since, what, the Jurassic period?" The audience chuckled, and Eastwood offered a slight, courteous smile. "I've been around a while," he replied in his low, gravelly voice. "But I'm here to talk about Redemption's Price. It's a story about a man trying to right his wrongs no matter the cost." "Sounds serious," Kimmel said, nodding. "Let's lighten it up first. So, Justin Timberlake and his arrest. That's pretty wild, right? Ever had any run-ins with the law back in your Wild West days?" The question was playful, but there was a slight edge to Kimmel's tone, a hint of something deeper. Eastwood tilted his head, his expression unreadable. "Never had much trouble with the law," he said calmly. "I've always believed in keeping things straight. Let's talk about the film." Kimmel grinned, undeterred. "Oh, we'll get there. But come on, Clint, you've lived a big life. You're a legend. Surely you've had some crazy nights. Any stories you're holding back?" The audience tittered, but Sarah, watching from backstage, tensed. This was too close to personal territory. Eastwood shifted in his seat, his eyes narrowing slightly. "I'm here to talk about the work, Jimmy. The film's about redemption, sacrifice, things that matter. You want stories? I've got plenty about making movies, not chasing headlines." The audience clapped, appreciating Eastwood's focus, but Kimmel leaned forward, his smile tightening. Sure, but let's be real. You've got opinions. You don't hide them. You've talked about your faith, your politics. Some folks say you're out of touch with today's Hollywood. What do you say to that?" A murmur rippled through the hall. Sarah froze, her gaze darting to the producers, who exchanged uneasy glances. This was exactly what they'd agreed to avoid. Eastwood's jaw tightened, but his voice remained calm, measured. "I say people are entitled to their views, and I'm entitled to mine. I believe in respecting people, doing the right thing, and standing by what you know is true. That's not out of touch. That's just living." Kimmel's smile didn't waver, but his eyes gleamed with a sharper edge. "Respect? Sure. But come on, Clint, the world's changed. Cancel culture's real. People get called out for saying the wrong thing. You ever worry one tweet could cancel you?" The audience shifted uncomfortably, sensing the change in tone. A few nervous laughs broke the silence. Eastwood leaned back, his hands resting on the arms of his chair. "I don't live my life worrying about tweets, Jimmy. I live by what's right. If someone wants to twist my words or take offense, that's their choice. I'm not here to play those games." The hall erupted in applause, but Kimmel pressed on his voice, taking on a mocking tone. "Oh, come on, Clint. You're saying you don't care if the internet comes for you? You're above it all?" You've got this tough guy image, but isn't that just a front deep down? Don't you worry about your legacy? The studio fell silent, the air thick with tension. Sarah's face paled as she whispered frantically to a producer who shook his head. The crew stood frozen, cameras trained on the unfolding drama. Eastwood's eyes locked onto Kimmel's, and for a moment it was as if the rest of the world vanished. His voice when he spoke was steady, but laced with steel. Jimmy, I've spent my life telling stories about people who stand for something. People who face down liars, cowards, and bullies. My legacy. It's in every film I've made, every choice I've stood by. You want to talk about fronts? Let's talk about yours. You sit here hiding behind jokes, digging into people's lives for a laugh. That's not hosting a show, that's playing cheap. The audience gasped, then erupted in applause, some standing in their seats. Kimmel's face flushed his smile, replaced by a tight-lipped grimace. "Whoa, Clint, easy," he said. His voice strained. "This is just a talk show, we're having fun here." "Fun." Eastwood said, his voice rising just enough to command the room. "You call this fun, digging into a man's life, ignoring what he's here to talk about, disrespecting him in front of all these people. That's not fun. Jimmy, that's you showing who you really are." The hall roared. Some shouting encouragement, others stunned into silence. Kimmel's eyes darted to the producers who were now frantically signaling the control room. All right, Kimmel said, raising his hands as if to calm the storm. "Let's take a break. We'll be right back after this." As the show cut to commercial, Eastwood stood, his movements deliberate. "I'm done," he said quietly but firmly. He turned to the audience, his gaze unwavering. "Thank you for your time. I hope you'll watch Redemption's Price. It's about standing tall no matter who tries to knock you down." With that, he walked off the stage, head held high as the audience erupted in a standing ovation. Backstage chaos ensued. Sarah rushed to Eastwood's side, her voice trembling with gratitude and awe. "Mr. Eastwood, I'm so sorry. We had an agreement." He raised a hand gently, silencing her. "It's not your fault," he said. "Some people don't know where the line is until they cross it." Meanwhile, Kimmel sat frozen at his desk, his face a mask of forced composure as the crew scrambled to salvage the segment. Producers were in a frenzy, barking orders into headsets while the audience buzzed with excitement and disbelief. Social media was already ablaze. Clips of the confrontation went viral within minutes, with hashtags like Clint stands tall and Kimmel crossed the line trending worldwide. Fans and celebrities flooded X with support for Eastwood, praising his dignity and condemning Kimmel's tactics. Clint Eastwood just showed the world what real strength looks like. One post read, garnering millions of likes. Another from a prominent director simply said, "Jimmy, you messed with the wrong legend." The fallout was swift and brutal. By morning, headlines screamed, "Clint Eastwood schools Jimmy Kimmel in epic showdown and Kimmel's blunder." How one interview tanked his reputation, sponsors began pulling ads from Jimmy Kimmel Live, citing unprofessional conduct. The show's ratings plummeted as viewers voiced their outrage online, demanding accountability. The network launched an internal investigation, and whispers of Kimmel's potential suspension spread like wildfire. His attempts at damage control, a half-hearted apology on the next episode, only fueled the backlash, with many calling it insincere. Eastwood, meanwhile, emerged unscathed, his reputation not only intact, but elevated. Critics and fans praised his poise and principles and redemptions. Price saw a surge in pre-release buzz. Social media hailed him as a symbol of integrity in an industry often criticized for its superficiality. This is why Clint Eastwood is a legend. One viral tweet read, "He doesn't just act tough, he lives it." The incident sparked broader discussions about the ethics of entertainment media, the power dynamics between hosts and guests, and the pervasive influence of cancel culture. Commentators debated whether Kimmel's behavior reflected a deeper rot in Hollywood, where provocation often trumped respect. Some called for reform in how talk shows handle sensitive topics, while others saw Eastwood's stand as a rallying cry for authenticity in a world obsessed with clicks and controversy. As the dust settled, Eastwood returned to his work unfazed by the storm he'd left behind. In subsequent interviews, he spoke little of the incident, focusing instead on his film and its message of redemption. But for those who witnessed that night on Jimmy Kimmel, live the memory of his quiet strength, lingered a reminder that true power lies not in loud provocations, but in the unwavering courage to stand for what's right. What did you think of this moment? Drop a comment below with your thoughts and let us know where you're reading from. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping stories and updates. Was Clint Eastwood's stand a defining moment? Or did Jimmy Kimmel cross a line that can't be uncrossed? Share your take.